It's going to take me a minute here to get set up. Well, happy day after Thanksgiving to everyone. The period of solar maximum is really in full blown force. The sun has gone crazy. Um, there's almost too many regions of the sun to address. These filaments are posing the biggest threat. What most people do not realize is how much the sun affects our health. Um, a lot of people will have headaches during these high radiation periods and magnetism periods where these solar storms are sending out flares that are hitting Earth or they're near missing Earth, but they're affecting our radiation and magnetic fields, particularly the people in the higher latitudes. The trade off, they get to see beautiful auroras, but communications, citizens band, ham radio operators, pilot communications in the higher latitudes, especially. But overall health, the heart, is tied to a lot what goes on here. By the way, I'm still dealing with sinus issues, so I'm going to show the sun more and talk less, and that should make everybody happy. This is a live view. I have two telescopes right now imaging the sun. This is the Solar Scout. Need to move it over a little bit. And let's take an image. Actually, I need to change hard drives. And okay. So let's knock off 200 frames. Happy Thanksgiving, Jimmy Anderson, Coach Anderson, one of Dorman's fine football coaches. He has a terrific family. I hope you guys had a great week. You get a good break. Let's take another. I'm going to switch telescopes in a minute and go in a little closer. Look at the sun. I do want to knock off a few images here. Our skies were very cloudy this morning. I didn't think it would clear up enough to do this. I'm thankful it did. Excuse me. I'll try to find the mute button so you don't have to hear the hacking. Just take another and then switch. What makes taking pictures of the sun possible is the telescopes are equipped with hydrogen alpha filters. So the only light that escapes the bandwidth, the very narrow bandwidth, is HA, hydrogen alpha light. And since the sun is 99% hydrogen alpha, it is a nuclear bomb that's contained, a hydrogen bomb. We're able to, forces of gravity keep it contained. You see explosions happening on the rim of the sun all of the time. In fact, I'll overexpose this a little bit and show you. Yeah, we're going to have to go to the other telescope too. There's some over here and some down here. The other telescope will do a better job of showing us. What's happening on the so let's switch. Let's go from the 1600 to the 174, and we've got to do some work on this. Let's see, let's go north, I think. There we go. And let's see if we can figure out how to fix this focus a little better. That's not getting better. Let's go in this direction. I'm down here controlling remotely. These telescopes are set up in my backyard. I'm in my home, but I'm connected to the telescopes by way of Wi-Fi. Welcome, Jerry King. And so I can control everything that's going on outside by this software. And I'm trying to focus better so that these sunspots are a little more that they're sharper. And I think I went too far. Let's come back a little bit. And let's see if there's any activity on the rim. I'm going to go up and raise the exposure. No, not much. But while I'm down here, I'm going to take, let me change the name of this to Sun Work. And this will be the, let's see, this is the, I'm trying to think. I just flipped the sun, so this would be the northeast. So this is the northeast side of the sun. Or northeast corner. So let's take a picture and let's use 500 frames. I'm taking a movie and the movie has 500 frames. And in order to get a picture, I'll select the best, say 50 of those frames and stack each one of them into a detailed picture of the sun. It looks like a wavy kind of blob, but I'll process one of those in a few minutes and show you what they look like. Let's take another of this. It's telling me how many it's already captured and down here in the bottom left, and it is done. So let's move it. Oh, want to go north? No, wrong way. These filaments that you're seeing here are the scary part of the sun because these things throw off flares in our direction. Some of them are capable of becoming coronal mass ejections, and they are very capable of causing a lot of issues here. Probably more health issues than anybody has an understanding of. We're finding that out today in the science of space weather. Let's raise the exposure up again, see if there's any flare. Here we go. So you can see down here, we have some flaring going on. And to give you an idea perspective-wise, that flare is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 70, 80,000 miles high. And so this will be the north center part of the sun. And so let's knock off 200 here. I'm going to mute myself here. Jerry, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving and your family. We certainly did. Had our grands over. I could care less about the kids. I just want the grandkids. I'd rent my kids out if anybody wants some kids for a holiday, but bring the grands over. Let's take another, and then we'll move on to another. We'll move over to the northeast corner of the sun. the orientation of the sun in my image is backwards, because if I imaged in the morning, it would be right. But as soon as the sun passes the transit, the meridian, the southern meridian, then my telescope flips. It does a meridian flip, is what we call it. And the telescope goes to the weight side, and the weights go to the telescope side, and it's to keep the telescope from banging into the pier that mounts the telescope. But it also changes the orientation of the sun, and in the morning, this would be the north part of the sun. But when you pass the meridian, this becomes and it flips the south part of the sun. Okay, let's continue to scoot over to there's not a lot going, but what's really happening here are these filaments which look so docile, but at any one time, they're capable of just going nuts and throwing off a major flare. Here's another, here's another, here's another. And they're coming from the far side of the sun. And so as the sun rotates, these things were active 30 days ago. And so they're now coming back and rotating back. Let's move up. And let's take another here. And then I want to look at the rim to see if we have any more flares on the limb of the sun. Hello, Clifford. Welcome. And I hope you two have had a great Thanksgiving and had your family and everybody's healthy. All right, I'm going to raise the exposure up again and see if, okay, this is a little more of a defined area on the limb of the sun where what happens is these flares are nothing more than nuclear explosions, and they're shooting plasma into the atmosphere, solar atmosphere, the chromosphere, and then the gravity of the sun is pulling it back again. You can't see it here. These are called spiculas, but this flare is now arcing and starting to come back, and because of the gravity. Here's an interesting side note. The light, all the light that we see, any light that you see, whether it's daytime, nighttime, comes in the form of photons. Your retina records photons. My camera sensor records photons. A photon originates in fusion at the core of the sun. That's where they're born. It's estimated that it takes a photon up to 100,000 years as it bounces back and forth through atomic reaction after atomic reaction before it reaches the surface. So 100,000 years from its birth until it reaches the surface. And it takes 8 minutes to get to my sensor once it hits the surface when I record it. Pretty cool. Fascinating. Let's take another, because I may be able to get some good data. Even though you can't see the flare right now, it's there, and I can process it so that we can see it. Okay, finished with that. So let's that right? No, we got to go this way. I've got so much backlash in my mount that it takes it a while before it responds once I initiate a. All right, so we're going to go to the east side of the sun, and let's stop about there. And while we can, let's look at the. Okay. There's not a lot going on the rim. I wish I could show you some more big time activity. Um, let's knock off. Actually, let me play around with focus a little bit. It's hard to tell if you've got good focus because the atmosphere is moves the target. It's like focusing on something that's underwater. All right, let's take a quick capture of 500 frames. I enjoyed watching Kristen and Debo last night. What athletes? And Brock. I've become a I can't believe I'm saying I'm a San Francisco fan just because of Christian Mack and Debo Sam and Brock Purdy. You gotta love them. And Patrick Mahomes with Kansas City. And I'm not a real big NFL fan, but you gotta love them. Okay, let's continue to move around. And now we're going to go to the, I forgot to change the name. We're going to go to the southeast part of the sun. Let's check the rim. Let's bring the gain up a little bit. There's just not a lot of real dynamic. There's a lot happening, but from a pictorial and imaging standpoint, there doesn't appear to be a lot of real dynamic flaring on the limb of the sun right now. But from a solar standpoint, it's a mess. The sun's acting up really nicely. Okay, let's knock off 500 more frames. And another. I don't know if I got that or not. All right, let's get the southern part of the sun. And let's check out the limb. Nope. So let's make sure my histogram is good. Yep. So let's change this to the southern part, south, centered, central, and knock off 500. I'm just going around the sun taking images of the surface and the limb. I'm going to process one of these in a minute and show you what a finished picture looks like. Let's take another. And now let's go to the south east. Oh, it sure is. Wow. Wow. Okay. Now it looks like everything is overexposed. It's not. It's the way I've stretched. Well, it is too. Take it back. Let's back it off some, and then let's adjust our histogram. It's not now. It looks like it's overexposed, but it's not. Um, let's do overexpose it though for a minute and see if we got any active. Oh, there we go. Now we really don't have anything shooting high in the chromosphere, but here's a massive stretch of probably. I'm just thinking of the size of the Earth. You could probably fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Earths in a row on top of the sun right here, and the Earth is 20. It's about 12,000 miles in diameter. If pi still is a physical factor, then that would be. Let's see if you could fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 100,000 miles of flaring going on right there, or more, give or take. I'm going to process this one. Let's make sure I've got a good exposure. I'm going to bring this up a little more. And it's too much. Down a little bit. That's it. All right, we're going to, this is going to be the south, let's see, east. Got to think. I'm dyslexic. And so let's take this one. Let's take another one, and I'm going to go ahead and start processing this first one. I'm going to open it up in AutoStackert. I have to find the folder, and that's today. And we want the Quirk Southeast, and that's this one. So let's put the, okay, looking good. Let's see, make sure we got surface. Yep. Let's analyze it. And while that's doing its thing, I'm going to take another because this is pretty hot, pretty active. Let's take another. Let's go back and see where we are. It's about to finish this up, our stage one. Okay, let's place a grid. Let's try 200. Well, that's probably not going to work. Let's do 400 by 104. That's the size of the box, 104 pixels by 104 pixels. And let's stack 30%. Yeah, 30%. So while it's doing that, I'm going to take one more and then move down and finish off this and then switch telescopes again. And so let's, oh, wrong way. Well, that's just a real meaty part of the sun there. This is lively, guys. I mean, this is stuff that you don't see when you're not in the period of the solar maximum. Adjust my focuser a little bit. Make this a little better. I think I'm going the wrong way now. Okay, this is the east central. And let's start taking a few of those. And let's see where we are with AutoStacker. We're stacking now. And while that's finishing up, let's take another. And let's check the rim too. Let's see. Nope. Nothing much. Let's knock off another 500. And we're about done with this. This takes the longest, and then these go by real fast. We're done. Okay, and close that out. Let's bring up IMPPG and go find that image. File, open, and we need to go to let's see, we were southeast 30%. There it is. Let's get the whole thing in the picture. And let me move some things around here that are in my way. And let's try. So there's the region of some activity that we were looking at earlier. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. This is where you can spend a lot of time. Let's raise this up to about 2.8. Running deconvolution. Okay, 3 is fine. Let's add a little bit of unsharp mask. Let's see, 1.4. Kind of sharpen things up a little bit. Let's go see if that shows up any better. This is really overkill. Should have stopped way back there, but I'm just kind of exaggerating this so you can see some of the details. The rest of it I bring out in other software, and then I colorize them, but it gives you an idea. Okay, let's head back outside, and let's take another, and then we'll switch telescopes again. We'll take a few more images with the other telescope. Camera, we're going to go to the 1600. And this gives us the full disk of the sun, which I really like for imaging. And we need to bring this up, and I think that's south. Wow. And we need to go west here. Hey, Doc. Dr. Scove has just joined. We did. We had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you for asking. Dr. Tamitha Scove has just joined me on YouTube, and she runs the Space Weather channel. And if the sun fascinates you at all, whether you own a telescope or not, just fascinated by the fact that it's responsible for absolutely everything that we have here, that this is nuts. I'm having some artifacts show up just because of the I'm going to shut down, I think I'm going to shut down this software. The sun is, by the way, not this nuts right now. It's nuts, but I'm having some pixelization just due to the Wi-Fi connection. As a matter of fact, yeah, I'm live now, but this is probably the worst. It may settle down, but I'm connected to my observatory in the back of the backyard through Wi-Fi, and it's just having a lot of pixelization. I'm going to shut down the camera, or I'm going to shut down this. I'm going to switch cameras and see if it's happening on this other telescope. I'm running two telescopes, and wait a minute, wrong way. This isn't as bad as what's going on, but the Scouts files, those files are so huge that the camera that's I'm using for the Solar Scout, uh, they're 25 megabytes. And so when you start streaming those, they have an inclination to become pixelated. This is a different solar setup altogether, and the two telescopes ride tandem together, and I switch back and forth. This is a closer view, and then I'm going to go back out here and see if I get a better full disk image without the pixelization. Yeah, it's going to be better now. Let me but everything's backwards. Yeah. No, it's still acting up. Look how crazy it is down there with the when the sun transited the meridian, everything flipped. So this is the north part of the sun, south. This is the east, and this is the west part. But these are some wicked, wicked flares. Let me remove this. I'm going to remove this flat frame that I took and see if that helps. I'm just going to take it off. Yeah, that helped a little bit. And let's go up and add some exposure. The only problem when I remove the flat frame is that there's some dust. Yeah, it's pixelization. Well, it's pixelization before it even gets to YouTube. And honestly, it's the first time I've seen this happen. I've had pixelization, but nothing like this. And what's kind of strange is it's happening on that camera, and I think it's the larger files, and it's not happening. Uh, it's not happening here. Could be memory. I'm not sure which laptop I have a designated laptop. Um, there are three permanent setups, one for planetary right now, one for deep space, and the other for solar. And they all three have their designated laptop, but two of them are older Dells, and so yeah, it could be memory, it could be hard drive memory. But I'm not saving anything. I'm not taking any images. I want to see if anything's going on the limb. I'm going to run up the exposure. Yeah, there's just not a lot that's visually happening from a photographic perspective, but there's a lot happening always on the limb. It's just not a lot visually. Right, it's not part of the captured image. You're correct. It's all, when I take when I take an image, the pixelization isn't there. But when you look at it, it looks like chaos. I'm going to go back out there again. It's still fascinating me. Okay, it's not on the top part. It's when I scroll or when I move the mount that it seems to happen down on, well, let's move. It starts happening right there. Well, it's not happening now. Wrong way. Okay, well, there's the full disk that's sort of behaving. But you've got to discount this, this, that, that's just dust and stuff that's collected on the optical train. Did it? So that would be right over here. This would be the east limb. So we're, yeah, let me, I don't know. Is it up here? This would be the southeast and this would be the northeast. Would it be the northeast or the southeast, Doc? Dr. Scalves just told me that the sun's just launched another coronal mass ejection, and it's a big one. So, northeast. So it's right here. So, is it one of these flares? I mean, one of these filaments right here? Um, let's do a. That's too much. Let me. Okay. It's probably still a little bit too much zoomed in. So this filament right here is the one you're saying just launched a doozy in the last 24 to 48 hours. Let me go to and let's bring up yesterday, which be the 23rd, and let's go to 171. Okay, so yeah, right here. Watch this. Watch over here. Bingo. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, there's three of them down here, 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 and but this is nuts, guys. And I'm telling you that if this was 6 or 7 or 8 years ago, I would be lucky to get one sunspot in an image. And a lot of times there would be nothing on the surface and very little of anything to image on the limb. That's crazy. So that's what Dr. Scov is mentioning. Yeah, for sure. You guys need to check out our channel too. I'll put a link to Dr. Tamitha's. I've got a Facebook page going at the same time. I'm simulcasting Dr. Scove, and I actually have more activity on the Facebook page, so they can't see your post. So I'm kind of repeating what you're saying, so they would know what you're doing. But I'll put a link to her website on my Facebook page. I have put that up before, and it's on my YouTube page too. But you need to kind of follow her, and it's just so fascinating, uh, the behavior of the sun. So let's head back outside, and I'm going to scoot this thing over a little bit. Oh, it's a fact. I'm not. It's a fact, Dr. Scott. You're. Here comes the pixelization. Here, it's my Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's. Um, I'll show you what's going. May not be able to. I have the umbrella up at Windows. I'm surprised it hasn't told me I have a bad Wi-Fi connection, but I'm going to open up some outside surveillance cameras here real quick. I think. I can't see anything. Um, well, it's a mess. These are the two permanent piers. I've got a patio umbrella because my HOA will not allow an outbuilding. So, um, but this is the telescope right here. You can't see it, but it's the one that's currently on the sun. Forgot I had the umbrella up. And anyway, yeah, this is going to kill everything. It's sort of kind of pointless to continue because um, my Wi-Fi, I am down to 1 bar, so that's what it is. The bloody sun is causing it, Dr. Scove. It's the bloody sun. It's messing up my Wi-Fi. Oh, let me hang on a minute. I'll show you what I. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, Let me see here. Let me. There's my solar setup. Um, this is the Solar Scout and the 1600 camera on it, and this is a quark chromosphere, which is a hydrogen alpha filter, and then below it is the Astrotech 65 EDQ, and it has a electronic focuser which lets me control focus from inside, so I don't have to sit outside and babysit focus. And then it has another quark chromosphere. They also have tilt adapters to kind of combat the Newton rings. And this is a 174 camera. Larger pixels, it gives me a closer view. But those are the two solar setups. And let me see here if while you're connected, let me see if I can find this. Oh, that's just another view of it. This is, oh, I don't know what I just brought up. Let me see if there is. Hang on a minute. I'm going to find it, and then we're going to probably end up having to. That's the worst. I've never seen pixelates. I've had some, but I've never seen it like this. That's ill nuts. I'm going to bring a picture in here. Oh, by the way, there's Jupiter from a couple nights ago. And another. And M33. Let's see, there's Saturn. another Jupiter. Let's see. Let me go to desktop, eKey, eCam, pictures, 3 scopes. Okay. There's the setup. This is what I use for planetary, and this is a solar kit, and this is the a wide field. But as soon as the planets cease to be imageable, I'll replace that with another refractor or a Newtonian and do more wide field. But this is the solar setup that I'm using now. And so I have, these are laptops, I just throw a towel over them, kind of keep the dew off of them. And that's my playground. So we'll head back. It's pointless. That's crazy. Well, listen, Doc, I'm really thank you for showing up. It's an honor. I'm flattered you jumped on board, and glad to have you. I put some. I'll post images. I didn't want to hijack the forum that you guys had, and by putting images up there, but uh, message me if you want me to stop. But I'll be glad to put images I take of the sun up. Um, I take them all the time because I'm imaging every time there is a clear sky. So anyway, I'm going to say adios to everybody. And oh, do you ever worry about people jumping into your yard and stealing your gear? I'm age 79, and I'm at the point where if they do, I'll buy another setup. But it isn't a gated community, but it's a very safe community. Uh, we are locked up back there, and the gear's bolted down, and it is very, very heavy. And so someone would have to spend a lot of time unbolting stuff, pulling wires out, and it's a complicated piece of setup, and it would be somebody would have to know what they're doing. And then you have this other thing: who wants to buy astronomy stuff? The market is just very niche, and everybody would like to have a telescope, but nobody knows what to do with it once they get one. So and most people who've looked through one have been disappointed because probably wasn't a very good optic in the beginning. At the same time, it's sure possible, but I don't worry about it. And if it gets taken, I hope they enjoy it. I hope they learn something from it, and I'll just do it again. So, no, I worry about things, but the laptops, they could have those. I'm looking for an excuse to replace them anyway. So at any rate, imaging the sun right now is just out of the question, even though I don't have any skies. I'm wondering, I'm going to shut down, I'm going to do something and shut down SharpCap. Oh, by the way, here's a stacked image of the sun I took a few minutes ago. So, and, oh, um, I saw where you played in a band, and I don't know where I read that, or maybe you mentioned that in one of your webcasts. But I don't play in a band, but I'm a banjo player and a guitar player, and I spend hours every day when I'm not imaging or working in astronomy or working out at the gym. I'm playing the banjo usually, guitar some, but banjo a lot. So banjo's my thing, and 5 string bluegrass music is. I've threatened to play some online, but I'm afraid the few subscribers I have would vanish. So anyhow, all right. Everybody in my family plays music. Uh, we we all kind of grew up jamming with each other, and none of us are good enough to go anywhere with it. We all have our own space and careers, but we love we love playing it. Yeah, we're well. It's I don't know if it's hard or not. It's the banjo is a it's not as complicated as it sounds and as it actually sounds. I mean, that's a literal sound. It sounds like uh, because of the droning that goes on with the banjo, it sounds like there are uh, all kinds of finger movements that are impossible to duplicate, but it's very predictable and it's very manageable, and it's not nearly as difficult as most people think. Yeah, I've got pixelization going on just this computer. It's the Wi-Fi and my connection, I think. And I can tell down here by my connectivity that I'm working with one bar. So I'm gonna blame it on you though, and the sun. Yeah, it's a very fast tempo. Yeah, and if you play mandolin, uh, you know the keyboard. If you play banjo, you know the keyboard or the fretboard. And if you know, you mean you got to know the fretboard. If you play banjo, mandolin, or guitar, it's you got to know it. And before you ask, none of us can sing, but we don't know it, and so we sing. But that's why it stays at home. All right, well, guys, have a happy Thanksgiving on Facebook, and I hope everybody makes a point to say something nice to somebody today. And I'm gonna catch everybody on the flip side. And next time I go live, Miss Dr. Tamitha Skov, I hope you join me and join me on one of my nighttime. So you're on the West Coast, so you would be able to actually not have to stay up so late because I get started around 6 o'clock when I have clear skies, which I don't have tonight, or so it's predicted. And join me in one of my deep space imaging, and I do planetary and deep space at the same time. I switch back and forth between those two telescopes. So um, I love doing it. All right, everybody, be nice to people, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the day.